What's up, brothers and sisters? It's your brother G World 7 underscore D. I'm going back to J.A. Rogers' book, 100 Amazing Facts About the Negro with Complete Proof. Now, but I'm going to first say this, man. I want brothers and sisters to understand we need to continue to do our full research on our true history. Any idiot who's still telling you that you're a descendant of African slaves, they are an idiot because they have not done no real research and no studying. They continue to regurgitate the lies that was given to them by their Negro professor or some white person teaching our history. These goofy Negroes, man, are a big problem in our community. And even if you tell them, they will try to just dust it off. The Boule Negro has done a lot of damage. See, by us identifying as Aboriginal to this land, that will make our reparation claims even stronger because they said we're indigenous to this land that was stolen from us and then we reclassified compared to being brought over here from a foreign land in ships. Our reparations claim will be even stronger by identifying with our true heritage that it was taken away from us and given to other people who have oppressed us and stolen our identities. So when I hear people talking about their reparations is their descendants of slaves, that's what our reparation is. No, Negro, you don't know what the hell you talking about. And you don't know anything about history. And it's unfortunate there's a lot of these Negroes on YouTube who's pushing that. These are some ignorant Jack Daniel type of Negroes, man. And unfortunately, we're going to continue to get these idiots speaking for us. Like I said, the Boule has done too much damage. I've grown up around them. I've been around them. They're idiots. They're idiots, man. And that does not help our people. And this is why I want you to do your own independent research. You must do this in order to grow. You cannot listen to mainstream media, go through these mainstream outlets, because most of the time they're going to lie to you. Everything has been filtered out. There's so many things that was on the internet back in 2000 that's not on there today because that stuff been filtered out. Fake pictures, fake images, all that stuff is now on the internet. So you can't Google search this stuff, I'm telling you. You don't Google search true information when you're doing research. You have to hit hard and do some in-depth research, and you're going to come out of your pocket doing this. Okay, from this book, I used this book before. I read something before, some stuff I didn't read before, but I'm going to read this part, all right, out of this book. Go to page 12, Ancient Civilization. I'm not going to read that whole part, I'm going to read just a little part right here. Negroes lived in America thousands of years before Columbus. Negroes lived in America thousands of years before Columbus. Central American monuments show numerous carvings of them as gods. Copan, Palenque. When Columbus came to the New World, Negroes had been crossing from Africa to South America, a distance of 1,600 miles. The first white man to reach the American mainland tells of seeing Negroes. Columbus, who visited South America, said that he had heard of them there. Now, whether Columbus existed or not, if he existed, he was a Negro himself. So he was a Moor. All right, but there's so much stuff these bastards have lied about the history. But those monuments, the Egyptian civilization empire, wasn't just in Africa. And I'm gonna say this now. Our people sailed around the world. South America and South America to Africa. Remember, Ramesses had, I think it was the second or third, had cocaine in his system. Cocaine is a natural plant here in the Americas, particularly South America. Alright? Why would he have that in his system if they weren't here in America? See, what bugs me about these stupid Pan-Africans, man, is that they think our people landlocked, and they think our people just came over here in slave ship, but ancient Egypt was black. And they'll tell you that the Mongolian people, the first people in America. Anyone who's telling you that still is a Jack Daniels type of Negro historian. A jackass. The so-called Mongoloid people were originally swarthy people. That's dark. The origin of, you can say, the Mongoloid people, you can say, well, look at the Khoisan people, who comes from a brown to yellow skin complexion. You see them in southern and probably, I guess, Central Africa, definitely Southern Africa. They have a yellowish to brown skin complexion. They're not mixed. They're not, quote, mulatto. Those are people who have their natural skin tone. Our people were always able to have a blue-black to a yellow skin complexion without having white people add mixture in us. So when you hear dumb Negroes tell you that it's because they're light, because they have white in them, they're ignorant because they don't know what the hell they're talking about. You've had the origin of lighter skinned blacks did not come from having white in you. We've always been diverse in our physical features, in our skin tone, in our hair texture. We've always had that. Now, you may have a few whites that are mixed in with certain black people, but like I said in my video the other day, the only pure race of people on this planet could be black people, because all people come from black people. All people come from so-called Negro, melanated people. So the only people that can possibly be pure on this planet are so-called black people, not other people. So let's tie things in together. You knew that Maya was the priest and priestesses, was a priest or a high dignitary, and also the wet nurse over in ancient Egypt. There's a tomb in Egypt that shows Maya coming to Egypt from the other side of the water and dressed up as an Egyptian, performing certain ceremonies or presiding over them, watching them as if they're the teacher, and they're showing and watching over the students follow over instructions that they had given. Maya is known in the Americas. So Maya came to the Americas as the priest or priestess to instruct these so-called Egyptians about certain ceremony practices. Like I said, there's a tomb dedicated to Maya over in Egypt. All right, I'm emphasizing this because the fact is that the going back and forth, the selling back and forth was natural. To say that our people's history started over here 400 years ago, I'm going to say this again. You are ignorant for saying that. And there's no excuse for that in this day and time. There's too much documentation and information out there. See, a lot of these people don't think you are able to read or do the research and to search for this information yourself, because it's out there. You had the black empires in America who were smelting iron, had furnaces and mounds, and carving into rock structures. I mentioned before about during the so-called Amarna period in ancient Egypt. You have Amenhotep or Akhenaten, Aten, the sun disk, Aten, Aten, Baten Rouge, by Aten Rouge, Akhenaten, or the honor of that sun disk, was honored not only in so-called northeastern Africa, but was honored in the ancient Americas. All you got to do is look at some of these names. I say this over and over again. This stuff is in your face, man. There's no excuse for this African you just brought over in an African slave ship. It sounds like some of you Negroes just want to be victims. You have not studied your true history. Look, I come out of the quote, Boule black stock, and I can't stand them Negroes because they ignorant. Because all they care about is being next to white folks or being approved by white folks. But since white folks don't want them, they come back to the black community and created their little caste system within the community, causing misinformation and confusion and having our people going down to the steps of hell. And I'm saying this over and over again. The information is there, but you're going to have to want to seek it. And anyone who's making jokes about black people calling themselves Aboriginal, you are a damn enemy to our people. Let me say this again. Native, and I said this over and over again, Native American is some person who's, quote, mixed Mongoloid, white, and Negro stock. Aboriginal is Negro. The original so-called Mongoloid people wore swarty skin complexion. That means dark. And I showed that in my earlier videos showing the definition of swarty. It's talking about a dark-skinned person. That's how the original Mongoloid people looked like. They were black themselves. So I'm tired of these asinine stuff said by Boule Negroes who's been given marching orders to confuse our community. Most black people were already here in America, like I've said this over and over and over again. Majority of people were not brought over in ships. A lot of that narration was done to throw off the scent of all the black people who are already over here. But see, some of you have not done the research, so you listen to people like Henry Louis Gates, who never could seem to find himself a black woman to marry. But you listen to people like that, who has a deep-seated self-hatred of himself. See, I don't hate myself. I love myself. Because I know that our true history did not start over here on the bottom of a cargo ship. That's a lie. But see, them idiots from the Amon-Ra squad, Dr. Ma'at and Sa-Netta and that idiot, the bald-head one, that idiot Ankh, these idiots have not really studied nothing. Because they're only studying what white folks tell them to study. What white folks deem to be good information. I mentioned before about the Miami Circle. I mentioned before an encampment that's at least 7,000 years old or older than the Pyramid of Giza was found in Miami, Florida. I talked about the Timucua tribe in freaking Florida. Those are nothing but Negroes. I talked about the Yamasee, the Washita, and all these other Negro groups that were here, not only in the Southwest, but the Midwest, the Northeast, the Southwest. I talked about those structures before, and I showed you the similarities that you've seen over in the Southwest with the Anasazi. And those structures that were built all in cliffs. That's very similar. You look at the Mali, it's the same damn thing. I say this over and over because it's the same goddamn black people. Let's get this straight. Some of you don't like to use the term black. I'm using it to the point that I want you Negroes to get what I'm saying. You had black empires that ran from so-called California, going all the way east, coming back around to Hawaii. You had black empires encircling this whole damn planet. But see, some of you Negroes just want to be African slaves. You just want to be Negrito victims. I talked about them carving into rock. They had mounds. They were smelting iron. That's why it shows you in books called the African iron metallurgy. Because they were smelting iron. They were carving into rock. They had furnaces, heated furnaces. I talk about how in the wintertime they may stay in them unit and then just migrate out for food, or they may just travel south. There was always constant movement going up and down because they had boats. They had built different types of boats to sail different types of rivers. Larger boats to go overseas or sail the big major waters. Maybe smaller boats to go into smaller rivers. They had the technology to build different boat craft, different type of ships. Our ancestors did that, but some of you just want to be African slaves. You are ignorant. I mean, I don't care how many degrees you Negroes have. You're stupid as hell and you're ignorant and you make me sick. Because you continue to regurgitate a lie and deep down inside, you feel inferior. I know who the hell I am. And I showed you from my past videos. I even played with these names. So obviously, man, like I said, Geechee, Ogeechee River, Yamasi, Tennessee, Kankakee. This is so obvious. It's in your damn face. But some of you refuse to see this because you want to be slaves, or you're afraid to upset your little white friends, and you have little white friends. You don't want to get them mad at you, your little liberal friends who hate your guts. Because some of them know the true history, who the original people here were in the Americas. But you don't want to hear it. You want to claim reparations, claim that you were slaves from Africa, instead of saying that you were a descendant of the Aboriginal blacks here, whose land was not only stolen from them, but your identities were reclassified and stolen from you. That is more of an argument, not only to get money, but your land back. That is more of a strong argument than saying you were the foreigner brought over here. You were reclassified. When you look at us, we do not look like West Africans. Because we're not the same people. Yes, we're so-called black people, but we're not the same people. There weren't that many slaves brought here to North America. I'm sorry to upset some of you niggers, but that's the truth. So when you put that together, that lets you know that majority of black folks were already here. We were already here. And we always range at different skin tones. I mentioned before the Khoisan from a yellowish to a brown skin tone. You can have yellow-skinned blacks, but not have no white in them. The only pure race of people on this planet I say are black people, and that's true. Because all other people come from so-called black people. Period. That's not my opinion. That's a damn fact. And I want you, brothers and sisters, to stop, do your research, but stop listening to these charlatan-type niggers on YouTube or in society, period. Because these Boule have done enough damage to our people. Any idiot who continues to make fun of people who say they're Aborigine is an enemy and is a traitor, and to be looked at as a traitor that needs to be dealt with in our damn community. Because we're not descendant of no damn African slaves. That was what these white folks beat you down to believe in, but you're not descendant of no African slaves, and your names are not no white slave names. They come from black Moors from freaking Europe and Americas. Those are not white names. They originate from black people. White people hijacked their terms. And I give you a source, Ancient Modern Britons, Volume 1 and 2 by David McRitchie. He talks about that. How the original people of Europe were black. And they were. And that's who many of us, when you look at a lot of those black people who ruled ancient Europe, and the black Indians here, we look like them. We don't look like no West Africans. We look more like them. If you take a good look at those black people, those coat of arms there, and the black Indians here, we look like them. We look like them. We are a combination of very different black groups. Most of us are not no African descent. Or, let's say, come from West Africa. We're not that. Our features vary because we come from very different black people. Our features don't come from some different tribes mixing, different African slave tribes mixing. No, we have various different groups of black people already here mixing with one another. But some of you have to do your research because you've been really conditioned and you've been really brainwashed. You get your degrees, man, and you're ignorant. I'm serious. You're very ignorant, some of you. Now, most of my people who listen to my page know the real deal. But you gotta get out of that mess saying you're descendants of African slaves, because that information is so inaccurate. It is extremely inaccurate. And many of you do not want to hear the truth because you have to admit that you've been wrong and you've been miseducating our people and you've been very destructive to our people and you're part of the problem. Not part of hell, you're majority of the problem. There's no excuse not knowing this information. There's no excuse to research it. Not to research it. Because the information is in your damn face. It's in your face. It's in your damn face. But you refuse to go get it. That's the part that disgusts me, man. You just want to be a slave from Africa. You know that if you were to research your true history, all that stuff that you've been learned, you realize not only you've been lied to, but your education isn't worth a damn. And I'm telling you, Negroes, man, I'm telling black people, Aboriginal brothers and sisters, do not, I repeat, do not listen to these Boule Negroes. Do not listen to these Pan-Africans, man. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. This stuff, once you really study this stuff, man, and you start picking up on this, it'll make your head spin. Because you've been taught to go one way, study one way, when you should be studying another way. Whether it's here in ancient time Marae, Aztec land, whatever, or so-called Africa, or the area of Azar, Asia, whatever. So-called black people are aboriginal to this planet. And they are at different locations. Majority of our people are in different locations, weren't brought in ships. They're aboriginal to that land. And because of we have been indoctrinated so much by some outsider that we have come to believe that we come from somewhere else. It's impossible for us to be aboriginal here. That we believe that foreigners were indigenous to here and we came over in ship when there's the other way around. There's too much information out here, and people who continue to say they're descendants of African slaves, I see them as a traitor, I see them as an enemy, and I see them as the main problem of our people. All of you who say that mess, that you descended of African slaves, you are a traitor. All right, brothers and sisters, man. I'm gonna go to one other piece, man. One other piece, and I think I've read this one before, which I did, but I want to go to one other piece in this book, man, because this is really, really getting on my nerves. The total ignorance of many of our people who just want to believe anything that white folks tell them, man, or some Negro with a title tells them, man. It's really sad, and it's getting to be sickening that our people don't want to really put in the work and into the research of studying their true history. Right, and I've read this part before, but I want you to resonate with this. All right. On the presence of the Negro in America before Columbus, C.C. Marquez says the Negro type is seen in the most ancient Mexican sculpture. The Negroes figure frequently in the most remote traditions of some American pueblos. It is to this race doubtlessly belongs the most ancient skeletons of very distinct structure of two of the red American races which have been found in various places from Bolivia to Mexico. All right. Dixon emphasized the fact that there was an early Negro strain in Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and Central American Indians. Columbus said he wanted to find out what the Indians had told him that there had come to it from the South and Southeast Negro people. All right, now I'm going to stop there, man. I showed you, like I said before, man, the Anasazi, the cliff dwellings. This is an assignment. I want brothers and sisters to go look at the Anasazi and the cliff dwellings structures. And I want you to go look at the Malian structures. I want you to study the architecture of each one. I want you to look at the steps that they climb. They use a little, like, stone or wooden steps to climb on there. I want you to see how they're carved into the rock, the very similarity with each one of them. I want you to study that, and I want you to notice that. I want you to see that. I want you to look at some of the people's, the head wraps they're wearing. And I want you to study ancient America, look at the head wraps they're wearing, because those are the same damn people who built those structures. These are the same people. See, like I said before, those idiots from the Amun-Ra squad, those Pan-Africans, man, that stuff is dying out, thank goodness. Because they're idiots. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. Like I said earlier, going west, starting in California, going east and around, all the way back to Hawaii, black folks dominate all that land. Because we were the original people on this land. All other people are newer people. They come from us. So we're the only people that can be, quote, pure race. We're the only people that can be pure race because everyone comes from us. So you got to understand that. You have to understand that. You must understand that. And I'm begging you, brothers and sisters, to put in research. I want you to go out and study some of these names. Like I said, study the Saniki, Malinchi, and study those names that sound close to Chi, Che. Study those damn names. You find them all through Americas because the Negro was not only in Africa, the Negro was all through the Americas because the Negro is the original person of the Americas. I want you to study that. So I'm giving you the football. I'm handing it off to you. And now it's up to you to take it and run for that touchdown. This information right in front of your face, man. Do not